Hi, so today I want to discuss challenges in the school setting for those with autism. Now, this is a loaded topic, and I hate to even, say too much on this because there's so many things I may leave out. Just kind of a general overview for those working with autism in a school setting or for those that are around autism in a school setting, just to make you aware of some things. So, with all of the challenges within autism itself, and then you put a child in a school setting, there's so many more facets that come to light, if you will, of challenges that you're going to see. So, because autism is a social communication, social engagement disorder itself, you think about all of the social interaction that happens in a school day. Social interaction with a teacher, with adults, with those that you're supposed to show respect to, and understanding authority. That's a very complex topic to try to get someone to understand, but especially someone with autism, and being able to apply that to different adults, not just one adult. The social engagement you have with peers, different social rules that you have in the classroom versus in the hallway versus in the bathroom versus on the playground versus in therapy or recess or PE, and like all of these different facets that you deal with that a lot of us are able to kind of categorize and break down and say, okay, inside voices in the building. But for someone with autism, that's very challenging for them to see the different circumstances and always apply that. They may see circumstances as very similar. If you are doing PE indoors in a gym versus outside, they may think, oh, I'm still supposed to have my inside voice at PE. Or they may think, okay, we walked into the cafeteria, it's a big room, it's a higher ceiling, maybe there's a lot more people, so maybe I can talk loud in here. So you may have to break down some more of those things for the individual with autism, but try to give a little bit of leeway and grace in those moments and try to make sure you have clearly explained the differences that you expect in those settings, because all of those things are hard for them to grasp. But then you compound that with the social pressure of having a lot of people around, a lot of noise, and you're putting in all of the things that are very challenging for them to deal with. A lot of times we're putting them all together at one moment. You think about PE, where you might combine two classes of kids. For someone with autism, that's loud, it's chaotic. We're with a different teacher. There's a lot of kids I don't know that I'm not familiar with. I'm in a different place. So many pressures, so many sensory items to, overload their system with, if you will, and sensations that they're going to probably struggle with. So in those moments, we need to be very cautious about that. But all of that just covers the social communication, the social engagement part, the undescribed, unlisted social rules, if you will, of how we engage with others. Then you think about all the issues with, behavior management that come along a lot of times with autism, of how we're supposed to do in this situation. What do we do when this happens? When I get overwhelmed, what am I supposed to do? And we kind of have to have a process for that. Then you think about the academic struggles that there may be. A lot of those with autism have splinter skills, which is where they may be really gifted or really advanced or, on par with their peers in one area, and they may be really low or really struggle in another area. And that's not just from subject to subject. So with a lot of children, you may have one subject that you're better at. But with autism, you tend to have splinter skills. You may be great at math, but there may be one particular math concept that you just don't get and you just really struggle with. And so when you combine the whole academic picture and then you have these splinter skills, well, a lot of skills build on each other. And so if you don't catch this skill down here on the bottom, it's hard for you to build your way up. And so that's where it's very important to catch these splinter skills in school early on. And a lot of times if you can remediate that one skill early on, then they can catch back up and jump back up into where they're supposed to be peer level. But just being aware of that and realizing, all of a sudden we have a lower score in our math. It may be because of this, or it could just be we're struggling with this one specific thing, and once we catch that, we'll be good. So academic skills, social engagement, behavior, sensory input, I kind of alluded to that with the PE example, but there's so many sensory things in a school environment, so many things and so many ways for them to get overwhelmed. I highly recommend a sensory room if that's not available in your school. Then I suggest, as a classroom teacher or a special ed teacher, whatever, that you find a way to find a space for them that is quiet and soothing. And this can be as individual or as general as you want it to be. If it's a sensory room for your school that multiple children are going to use at different times, then general things like squishy toys, lighting that can be dimmed, more quiet, or you may have some low classical music going. Lots of different things you can do there. Something interactive for their hands to do. That's where you think about like fidget toys, things like that. But if it's for an individual child, then I would make it very specific and very individual to that child and what they need themselves. So again, I hesitated to even cover this topic in these short little videos because there's so many facets of it and there's so complex issues a lot of times. But that's a general overview. Maybe it helped a little bit.